7 years. That's how long Olivia believed. I was just another underpaid paralegal working in a small New York law firm. 7 years of watching her chase luxury, status, and validation, while I stayed quiet, blending into a life that looked painfully ordinary from the outside. The ending began with a single sharp sound. Divorce papers hitting the table. I looked up slowly. Olivia stood there, arms crossed, wearing a cold, satisfied smile. It didn't feel like anger. It felt like relief. Like she had been waiting for this moment. "Ethan," she said, her voice flat but cutting, "I can't keep pretending. Being married to you is embarrassing. Paralegal? That's not the life I worked for." Her words were calm, but they hit harder than shouting ever could. "I deserve more," she continued. "Someone successful. Someone powerful. My boss understands ambition, and from now on, I'll be with him." She paused, glancing around the apartment. "And this place? It's mine. You can leave." I didn't argue. Didn't raise my voice. I simply took a sip of my coffee and glanced at the clock on the wall. 10 minutes? That's all I needed. Because Olivia didn't know who I really was. She only knew the version I chose to show her. While she spent thousands on designer brands and luxury trips, I kept things simple. I took the bus. I wore the same watches. I lived quietly. But behind the scenes, for the past 10 years, I had been investing in early-stage Silicon Valley startups. Carefully, strategically. The kind of moves that don't draw attention until they change everything. I stayed average for one reason. I wanted to know if she loved me, or just the life she thought I could give her. Now I had my answer. Laughter came from the living room. I walked in to find Olivia sitting beside Marcus, her boss. He looked comfortable, confident, like he already belonged there. "Ethan," Marcus said, smirking, "let's make this easy. Olivia's successful. She needs someone on her level, not someone who files paperwork all day." Olivia didn't stop him. That silence said everything. Marcus leaned forward. "You've got until tomorrow to move out. Don't make it messy." I smiled slightly, not out of anger, but because everything was right on time. I reached into my bag and pulled out a thin legal file. Calmly, I placed it on the table in front of them. "Olivia," I said, "you work for a company called Golden Estate." She nodded, confused. "That company is 51% owned by a parent firm, Vanguard Holdings." Marcus shifted in his seat. "And Vanguard Holdings," I continued, "has exactly one CEO." I paused for a moment. Me. The room went silent. Marcus's expression froze. Olivia's face drained of color as she stared at the documents in disbelief. "That's not possible," she whispered. I opened the file and slid the papers toward them. Ownership records, contracts, financial reports, all legitimate. Marcus stood up quickly. "You're lying." I met his eyes calmly. "Check the signatures. Yours is there too. As an employee." That was the moment it hit him. Olivia's voice trembled. "Ethan, why would you hide something like this?" "Because I needed the truth," I replied. "And now I have it." I flipped to another section. "There's more," I said. "Company funds used for personal trips, luxury expenses, hidden charges." Olivia's hands began to shake. Marcus stayed silent. "In legal terms, that's embezzlement," I continued. "And I have more than enough proof." Olivia broke down instantly. "Ethan, please. I didn't mean this." "It's not what you think." Marcus said nothing, his confidence completely gone. I closed the file. "I could call the police right now," I said calmly. Neither of them moved. "But I won't." They looked up, a small spark of hope returning. "I'm keeping this simple," I continued. "You're both fired. Effective immediately." Marcus clenched his jaw. Olivia stepped forward, tears falling. "Ethan, please. We can fix this." I made a mistake. I raised my hand slightly. "No," I said. "You meant every word." She froze. "For 7 years, I gave you loyalty, honesty, and stability," I continued. "And you saw it as weakness." I took a breath. "This apartment isn't yours. It never was. And neither was the life you thought you were building." I stepped aside and pointed toward the door. "You have 10 minutes, I said quietly. "After that, security will escort you out." This time, there was no argument, because now they understood. As Olivia cried and Marcus silently gathered his things, I picked up my coffee again, now cold but steady in my hand. Some people chase success loudly. Others build it quietly. And sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one holding all the power. So remember, never mistake silence for weakness.